Namaste. There is a story, a deep personal story, behind most innovative startup. I wish to share my personal story, a story from a few years ago, many years ago, I should say, when I was a young mother of two daughters. Watching them grow was the most beautiful experience, but more fascinating for me was observing behind their physical growth, the cuddles, the cuteness, even tantrums. What I saw was that they had this constant aura of curiosity and exploration in them. We as adults are actually very quick to observe, notice physical development, the baby rolling on their tummy, sitting, holding up their head, crawling, and all of that. But what I marveled at was the curiosity, the natural curiosity, experimentation that actually propelled them to do all of this. When my daughters smiled at a familiar face, I also saw that gradually they were crying when they saw strangers' faces. When my daughter dropped her spoon repeatedly when she was sitting on the high chair, I understood that it was not to annoy me, but actually she was experimenting with concepts like gravity, cause, and effect. Jean Piaget, a Swiss psychologist who's done exhaustive work in the cognitive theory of development, says children actively construct their understanding of the world through experiences and interactions, gradually developing their cognitive abilities. Children learn millions of things by themselves. Perhaps we teach them 100 things, like how to greet a person, or perhaps sometimes help them to fix a jigsaw puzzle. Then came the big day for my daughter, her first day at school. Her initial nervousness, and I'm sure mine too, was quite natural because she was getting into a new social setting, the separation anxiety, and all of that. As weeks and months passed, I started observing something very, very important. And what was that? When my daughter initially started doodling, drawing, coloring, she would splash vivid, imaginative colors, sometimes purple skies, blue trees. And when I asked her, what happened? Because after she started going to school, I observed that she started using very standard colors and drawing within the box that was given and so on. I asked her one day, what happened to you? Why aren't you using fun colors anymore? And I'm sure you'd guess what she said. The teacher told me that trees are green, leaves are green, the sky is blue, and the ocean is blue too. Teacher said this, teacher said that. I got a strong feeling. A very strong feeling embraced me that my child is hardly curious anymore. As I was focusing on my daughter to do well in school, I realized gradually that something more important was being lost along the way. The intuitive educator in me had a startling wake-up call. I started researching deeply on understanding what the core problem was. So what is schooling all about? What happens in schooling? I want to share a very beautiful experience that was a moment of epiphany for me. One day, I visited a classroom. I think it was a grade 1, grade 2 classroom. And a teacher there was talking about this topic called flowers. As an exercise, she told all the students that open your notebooks and all of you write the name of a flower that you like the most. I was curious. I wanted to see what the responses were, what were the kind of flower names that's going to come up. But to my surprise, as I walked from desk to desk to desk, I saw the same answer in almost all the children's notebooks. I'm sure you've guessed the name of the flower. It was the rose. I went to a bright-eyed girl and asked her, "Why do you like the rose so much?" I was curious. She looked at me rather thoughtfully, paused, and then said, "No, I actually like the jasmine more." I wondered why she hadn't written the jasmine there. As if she read my mind, she looked up at me and said, "But I don't know how to spell jasmine." And I knew the answer. It was an eye-opening moment for me. Children, many a times, are held back by fear of making mistakes. And mistakes such as not so neat handwriting or not the right spellings. School sends a subtle yet very, very clear message that there is a right answer, there is a wrong answer, and many a times there is an expected answer. I'm going to illustrate this point further by taking you into a conventional textbook, which is the primary tool in a teacher's kit. Here is a math chapter, you can all see. It's about area and perimeter. There is a description, there is a definition, there is a formula, and then exercises that ask, find the formula of this grass or carpet or a tablecloth or whatever. Familiar questions? Right, wrong answers? We'll come back to this topic, just hold on. NASA's study on creativity reveals an alarming trend, as you see. Children between 0 to 5 years, about 98% of them are on the creative genius zone. You see that slipping to 30% when they are about 10 years. And in adulthood, among many of the adults sitting here, we are just 2% of us who are in the creative genius zone. So what happens along the way? I started thinking and thinking. I wished my children and other children too go to school, yet not get conditioned by it. The problem statement was very clear to me. How can the curiosity of the child survive schooling? I thought intensely about this problem statement, and I came alive that I could actually spend years pursuing and finding solutions for this problem statement. My startup was born. The mission being very clear and very impactful, it attracted tremendously talented people into the organization, and solutions started emerging and offerings came up. We wanted to partner schools and transform their classrooms, their learning teaching processes, such that the innate curiosity of the child is nurtured. Now let me take you through a page from the same topic and how we change the way children learn. Here is an area and perimeter lesson. There is a stimulating question. Imagine the two terms area and perimeter have come to life. Write conversations that they both will have if they meet each other. And look at what this 9-year-old has written. Area and perimeter exchange highs. Perimeter asks area, "Where are you?" Area says, "I'm inside you." "I have a large space to live," says the area. "I have the border of the space to live," says the perimeter. What you should notice here, beyond the brilliant, creative conversation, imaginative conversation, is there is clear evidence of understanding that the child has displayed about abstract concepts in math that have come to life. but is education only about understanding? You see here a similar page out of a science book where we have brought imaginative questions. If you had the power to change any non-living thing into a living thing, which object would you choose and why? And the child, grade 3, I will change a wheelchair into a living thing because it will give emotional support apart from giving the physical support. Empathy loaded response. But when the teacher interacted with the child, it was revealed that the child's grandmother was bound to a wheelchair at home and was battling loneliness when they were all out to school and office. Imagine that there is a story behind every child in the classroom. And understanding the context and the story behind every child in the classroom is what fosters deep, purposeful, enduring learning. Curiosity, especially in the ages between 3 and 12, manifests itself in different forms. It can be dance, it can be songs, it can be movements, it can be words, like you see of a budding poet here. It can be art. And one thing in the past so many years, when we have read several such answers, several such responses from students, is bewildering. Even in a class of 35, 40 children, when they are allowed free expressions, no two answers are alike. Each child is unique, and the potential of the child is hidden inside these expressions, and it is for us to observe and make them discover themselves. Now you may wonder how we do it. Where do these creative expressions come from? A curiosity period every Friday in a class? A creativity period after class? Not really. These are all integrated into regular subjects as they learn math, science, social studies, across grades, across topics, keeping their curiosity and creativity in top form and alive. This is what I call a practical innovation. Children in 1,000+ schools today do not use textbooks. Our innovative methodologies fuel their creativity and nurture their curiosity as they navigate through regular subjects. Was it a smooth journey, my startup journey? Not at all. When I started out as a newbie in education, I met with a lot of resistance, sometimes even disrespect. The school ecosystem would actually think I've gone crazy. I was on an experimentation mode, and it took a long, long time, and along with it, a lot of persistence, never say die attitude, and a whole group of passionate people to keep at it, and then slowly we gained acceptance. Today, we have proof of concept that not only the learning outcomes improve in these methodologies, but the holistic development of the child goes up and soars up. Skepticism to success, impactful solutions is the way. Reflecting on my innovation startup journey, I have some takeaways. I think the first point is to strongly feel about something, and that strong feeling, when you go deeper and deeper, becomes your strong purpose. Define and articulate a clear problem statement that should keep you awake and keep you alive. A practical innovation and an impactful solution is important not only to gain acceptance, but to scale and be successful. Last but not the least, reflecting on my journey. Would I want to just call it a successful startup journey? If you look at the last 5 years, there have been 9,000 startups in just EdTech and in India. A staggering data released in 2023 says that 90% of such startups do not survive the first 2-3 years. So what has kept me going from moving from a successful startup to an enterprise today, 2 decades? It's a blend, a beautiful blend of 3 aspects that are so close to my heart. a curiosity catalyst, I call myself, my penchant for curiosity in children, impactful quality education, and enterprise building. When these combine, you're not just looking back at a successful startup journey, but a joyful startup journey. Thank you so much.